Well, today we're going to start planting corn. I thought I'd show you what things look like before we actually get going here. I had the corn planter parked in here. That's sitting in the field right now. I'm going to throw a pallet of seed in the back of the truck. I've got 48 bags already in the planter, and I need to take that much with me to get through the day here. So we've got our seed corn piled on each side of this hay barn here. We've got BMR silage stacked on this right-hand side here. We're using Pioneer and Brevant, which Brevant took the name of Mycogen, so it's the same as Mycogen, but they've just changed names. And then we've got our conventional corn here. We've got some grain corn there, and then some regular conventional silage. We've got Hubner, Seedway, Channel. We've got some seed consultants and DeKalb, which we have not planted in probably 5 or 6 years. So we're going to go ahead and get to the field. It's a little tacky right now, so we've got a little time to kill. And we better get going here. So it is the 12th of May, and we are about as late as we were back in 2019. So it looked like we were going to get going a little earlier this year, but it started raining here 10 days ago and it hasn't stopped. So we'll join you once we get into the field. All right, we just pulled into the field. We actually went one time around this field here last night with the corn planter. We got everything dialed in. I didn't get the camera out at all, just because we were trying to get things set up. It was about 7 o'clock last night when we got started. Everything went perfectly. We had one O-ring that was bad on one of the fertilizer hose connectors, but other than that, everything fired right up. So the boys are on the other side of this field here with the 2 pottingers. We've got the larger one hooked to the 9410 and the smaller one is hooked to the 7290. We've got Jared in the 9410 and Nate in the 7290. Last night Jared and Andrew did what you could see here, and then we've got some cover crop that has come back up, started regrowing. This has been plowed for about 3 weeks now. So we've got 90 acres here in front of us, and then we've got another 90 acres here in behind us. It's a little cool, but the breeze is blowing here pretty good. The conditions aren't perfect yet. I'm kind of dragging my feet getting going here, but they've got a little bit of dust rolling out of them units there, so as they get working this ground up, it'll start drying out a little better. So we'll get fired up here and get after it. And you can see we got a little dirt on the planter here, but everything works perfect on it. So we ended up putting all new iron on this. We put new fertilizer discs on it. We put that little wavy coulter. We put all those on brand new. And then we also put new seed openers on it. I did the bearings on the fertilizer disc. I wasn't going to, but I ended up doing all the bearings on them. So we should be good to go here for quite a while. Shouldn't have any problems, I hope. Now we're also running a toothed closing wheel. These are a Schaeffer closing wheel, and we've got a stick cut here. I'll have to dig that out when I get 2 hands, unless I can just pop this out here. So I might have to get another hand in there. So I got to get another hand on that. So yeah, we're using the toothed closing wheel. We've been using these for a little while now, and we've had pretty good luck with them. The ones that have the plastic centers are no good. They don't last. But we're going to see how long or how much time we can get out of these here. We're also using a couple of the 4-link closer assemblies here. We put these on here last year. I'm not really sure what we're gaining with those, but we've had them on for, this will be the 2nd year now. So I better get this stick dug out over here, and I better get going. Alright, we're making our second time around the field. Everything is going perfectly here. The boys are just getting done disking this field here, and then they've got another 90 acres to do on the other side of us here. Everything has been working perfectly. I only filled up the fertilizer tanks about half full. I've got to fill up again here in a little while. 2 years ago, we had a real, here you go, mongrel of a time with the liquid fertilizer that we used up in the front tank here. It was crystallizing and it got all gummed up, and I've been a little gun shy here recently in the past, well, last year and the start of this year, with filling these tanks up too much and having to empty them out and agitate everything and whatever like that. So I just made that corner there with auto steer. We're using a 4640 display this year, and it's got, well, I kind of described it in the last couple of videos here. It'll do, it'll follow your outside time around the field just based upon the recording of your boundary, which is real handy. I don't have to have a ton of guidance tracks to get around my headlands, especially with a field that's shaped like this one here. There's 90 acres in this field, and there's probably, I don't know, 9 or 10 headlands here all together, you know, different sides of the field. So the boys are just getting done disking here. We're using both pottingers. Jared and Andrew started disking here last night, and they got about 3/4 of this one field done, and then we quit for the night, and Jared and Nate are just getting started in here now. So got the 9410 on the larger pottinger, and the 7290, like I stated earlier on in the video, on the smaller one. For the most part, we're probably going to use these 2 units here throughout the year here, ahead of the corn planter this year. And we'll probably not be using the Landau discs at all. I mean, things could change, but last year we had a heck of a time with rough conditions just because of the way the year went. So we were a little, we were thinking we better do something different with our tillage practices here, just so it wasn't so rough going across these fields during harvest. So of course this year we'll get different rainfall, we'll have different weather, and it won't matter what we do. So I'm just getting turned around on this headland here. I should have had the drone on us here. I gotta get to my guidance track, hit auto steer, and we're golden. We'll get turned back around here, and there is the pottinger tools. If you recall, I had some drone footage. If you recognize these fields, I had some drone footage from when we chisel plowed these fields. That turn that I just made here on the, coming around this, well, I'm on my 3rd time around the field now. Jared had the pottinger hooked to the 9320. In that tillage video when we were chisel plowing this farm here. So it'd be a hedgerow right about, well, between Jared and, well, I've gone past us here, but right about where the drone is right now, there used to be a hedgerow that ran the length of the field here. My father took that one out, and then he ended up taking a hedgerow out over here, and I have showed that in past videos here. There used to be another hedgerow that went from this one corner of the woods here across and over to the other side there. So this little chunk of ground up into our left here used to be a separate field. Years ago, when my Uncle Pat owned this farm, there was a hedgerow that ran from right in front of us, directly behind us, and then we'll turn around here. And it went down over the hill here. We'll kind of fly in the path of the hedgerow from what I remember it being. There was actually several hedgerows across this whole farm here, and between my uncle and my grandfather and my father, they took out quite a few of them. So this hedgerow ended up coming somewhere down into about, maybe, I gotta turn around here, a little farther than this. It went down, I guess it was past this next hill here. I gotta line myself up with the other side of the field. It went to about here, and then there was a hedgerow that ran from where we are, where we're flying across the field, over into the woods there that you see up in front of us. And then there ended up being a hedgerow on that far side coming over towards us that ran parallel with the woods there. And that hedgerow was about maybe 100 yards from the woods. And then, if I remember right, my Uncle John might be able to correct me here, but if I remember right, there was a hedgerow that ran from the corner of the woods to our left, parallel with the woods that's farther over, and I think that was a separate, like, 3 or 4 acre field there. But we're gonna get flown back to the corn planter here. I've got to fill up with fertilizer, and we're gonna keep on keeping on here. Alright, this is our first fill up of seed. Well, it's actually our second fill up, but first fill up after we've gotten, or after we have started planting. And it's the third time that I have filled up with liquid here. So I've got this side of the farm here planted already, and now we're starting on this side. We're only a couple miles away from the farm, and once we get this planted in this area, we're going to move to our furthest farm away from us. Then we're going to start working our way back through. So this is a BMR silage that we're planting here now. This is a 114-day variety here. It's a Pioneer P1449. So a lot of you are probably going to be wondering, you know, why are we dealing with bags and why don't we have a seed tender? Well, there's a simple reason to that, and that is we do not grow enough corn to warrant having a seed tender. Besides, Nate likes handling bags. He says it's a lot easier than dealing with hooking up the wagons and carrying totes around and everything like that. So we'll go down through, we'll put a bag in each hopper, and we'll go through and put the talc on. Then we'll pour the next bag in, put the talc on that, close our hopper up, and away we go. These hoppers here hold 3 bags each, so we can get 48 bags across the whole planter, and that'll do, oh, what the heck does it do? 120 acres, I believe, the planter will do with 48 bags in it. So I better get to work here and get dumping these bags in there. What do you think of that sexy truck right there? What year is that, Nate? 83. It's 1980 something all over again up on the Brink farm, ain't it? All right, we're gonna get the plant, and we got our bags burning there. We're getting rid of that evidence. We've got to make sure we get this pallet back to the hay barn and make sure they get it back. We get charged like, I don't know, 35 bucks or something if we don't return these pallets to Pioneer. It does have the Pioneer stamp on there, so that makes it worth that much more. And we are gonna get after it here. It's nice and breezy out. The conditions are getting near perfect. When we started this morning, things were a little wet, but everything is dried out nicely, and we're gonna get after it here. Okay, everything has been working very nicely. I'm afraid I don't have anything more for you with the first day of planting corn 2021. We've got field view running on the iPad right here. Got the 4640 up on this display, and then the armrest unit, which is basically the same display as that. We're just running the tractor controls off of that and just keeping an eye on the hydraulic functions and whatever, making sure everything's staying online there. And we've got a fair amount of dust rolling here right now. So like I was saying, everything has been working very nicely. I couldn't ask for a better first day of planting. Usually there's quite a few bugs to work out. However, we didn't have any problems this year. We don't normally have any problems anyways on the first day. It's usually once we get halfway through where things start to wear out a little bit is when we start to see some problems here. So we are gonna keep on marching along here, and we'll come back at you maybe tomorrow with another video, but this is gonna do it for this one. So I want to thank you for watching, and we are gonna catch you at the next video.